let's take a look at the news. First of all, we would be remiss if we did not mention the Dice Tower Kickstarter, which as of now is close to only 36 hours left. Let me see. Actually, I can tell you the exact hours. 38 hours. 38 hours. I'm looking here, folks. We got some of the stuff from last year's Kickstarter, and we're going to have this in our pledge manager. This playing card deck is really nice. The quality of the cards, I mean, they're bicycle cards, so they're good quality, but we'll have more of these available. I really like this a lot.
Hey, do you do late pledges, Tom?
We will be doing late pledges afterwards, yes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, just to help, promote it as we go forward, and we've been talking about it on the podcast too, so I hope we get even more backers. Awesome.
All right, let's talk about board game news. First of all, Schmidt Spiel is releasing a 2 to 5 player game called The Future of Camelot. That's the English version of it. This looks kind of cool. You're controlling a knight and doing different challenges. That board is interesting to me. It looks like a worker placement style board, but each quadrant of the board does something different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it looks neat. I like the different just geometric configurations. I don't know what's going on, but it's captivating.
There wasn't enough kind of Arthurian themed game. So I'm excited, and I like Schmidt.
That is a little weird that there's not more of those games. I don't know if this designer has designed anything else. I'm looking him up right now on Board Game Geek. He did a game called Acros, a game called 15 Uomini, and Around the World in 80 Days. Oh, that's coming out still. Okay. So yeah, none of his games have had like a big have done extremely well, but also I would assume they're not very well known either.
This looks a little abstract, but
oh yeah,
I'm still interested in it.
Escape the Wandering Towers. This is another game coming from a Bacchus Spiel. But this is a Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling game. So that, for some people, is an auto purchase. Kramer and Kiesling, and it has towers in it, which is not the first time I think these two have done a game with towers in them.
True that.
Yeah, right. They're towers. They've done it a few.
Yeah, this looks kind of pretty. I mean, anything with 3 dimensions is always
now, you said
neat.
the last one's abstract. This one is clearly abstract. They're like, you have ravens and wizards, and you're moving the towers around. Yeah, that's an abstract game. But it does look cool.
Yeah.
That cover really when Haba put out their family line, like not for kids. I forgot what they called it, but it looks like those covers, doesn't it? Like those Haba covers for older players.
Yes. Okay. I definitely agree on that. All right. Now this next one is Thematic. This is coming from Gale Force 9.
Gale Force 9.
And Doctor Who, Don't Blink. Don't Blink. Highly regarded as one of the best episodes of Doctor Who. It's probably in my top 5. And in fact, if you don't like Doctor Who or you've never seen Doctor Who, you could actually watch this episode out of context of the rest of the series, and still it's a great episode. It's like
I should do that because I'm not a Whovian. I just could never get into it. Every time I watched an episode, I was watching bad ones, I think, because even people told me, like, oh, no, that's a bad one. Oh, that's a bad one. So I don't have a context on this. So I will.
Doctor Who is barely in the episode, actually.
That'll make it better.
Every season, they usually do an episode where Doctor Who's not in it very much for whatever reason. This one is really good. It's a little horror-esque, spooky as all get out. And I really like this. This is a great episode. Don't blink. So hopefully the game is also good. All right. RuneScape, very popular intellectual property coming to tabletop now from Steamforged Games. Steamforged does a lot of intellectual properties, not usually highly rated amongst board game players, but the people who enjoy them like them a lot. The last one they did, I think, was Horizon Zero Dawn. They've also done, what else have they done?
I don't know. They've done a good amount of video games. It's their thing. That's their bread and butter, is video game intellectual properties translated to the tabletop. Now, RuneScape, I'm not familiar with this, Tom. This is an RPG, a fantasy RPG. Are you familiar with it?
Not really. I've heard of it, but that's about all I know. All I know is this is an announcement, so.
Yeah, I don't know this at all.
Okay.
All righty. Now we have from Funko Games, another very thematic game, I'm sure, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. As they continue their running through all very popular 80s movies. Well, was E.T. 80s? Was it AD? Was it 1980 E.T.?
1980.
80 or 81 or 82, right? Something like that. Early 80s.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've already done Goonies, they've done Back to the Future, so here we have E.T. That's a great cover. It's funny, that cover actually, I know it's E.T., but I bet some Stranger Things fans would look at that and go, that looks funny.
It's funny.
I don't think my kids have ever seen E.T.
So to follow up exactly on that, I was at Universal Studios recently, and we did the E.T. ride, which is cute and all. But we were thinking that, do children still watch this movie? I mean, it's so, I don't know, it's a little dated on some levels. So it was just interesting to ask the question, is this still a relevant IP? I'm interested in the game. I remember. Well,
yeah, but people our age are the ones buying it, so yes.
Yes.
That's the thing. E.T. is very popular.
Sure. It was a huge movie when it came out.
All right. Okay. Moving on to Yak. This is from Pretzel Games. So Pretzel Games, if I'm understanding correctly, Pretzel Games was not part of the deal when Plan B Games was sold to Asmodee. Pretzel Games stayed on its own, or did it go to Asmodee?
The first sale of the catalog of F to Z did not include Pretzel. The sale that just was made did include Pretzel. Did, as far as I recall.
So Pretzel is owned by Asmodee,
as far as I know.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, this is a really gorgeous looking game, Yak. It looks like it has some dexterity to it. It's hard to tell. You have these carts moving around with resources as an actual pick up and deliver game. Most of their games have been dexterity, but this looks like, this actually makes me think of that the Egyptian game, Z, with the blocks.
Oh gosh.
One of the Spiel des Jahres.
Yeah, the builder one. Why am I blanking on his name? The
Phil Walker Harding did it. Anyhow, doesn't this kind of give you that vibe?
Those kind of with the blocks.
Those carts being pulled by the yaks look very cool. They are actually all the yaks are wood.
Emotep, thank you.
Emotep, thank you. Jeez.
The yaks are good. Yeah, I'm sorry. Good.
No, go ahead.
I agree with you. No, Stephen, I agree with you. I think the little yak pulling a little cart and there's actual stuff in the little cute cart. Yeah. I don't know, Tom. This is way too colorful to compare to that game, I think. This is a burst of energy on the table. Look at that.
No, this is colorful. Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying that it kind of gives me that vibe. I hope this one's going to look
trash
great
compared to this, I guess is what I'm saying.
All right.
Yeah. I don't want to make broad statements.
Portal has announced a new intellectual property for their detective line called Everybody Lies. This is Batman in this detective line. So this one has people, from what I'm following on the internet, and people are hopefully excited about this, because the most recent detective game, the one based in the Dune universe, has gotten pretty mediocre reviews at best.
I am extremely excited about this. I didn't know about this until it was announced either. Ignacy usually gives me a little hint that something's coming and tells me things, but this, I mean, it's the perfect marriage, right? Of what Batman is with Detective when you take out the technology portion of Batman. He is a detective. That's where it all started, Detective Comics and all that. So this was very exciting when I saw this announcement.
Yeah. Again, like, I just hope that it's better. Again, I haven't played the Dune one, but a lot of people are not fans of the Dune one, which a lot of people are excited about too. So we'll see. So
it's a cool,
I like how it looks.
It's a cool idea to do the part of Batman that most games ignore. That's neat. You know, everybody's like the fighty Batman, the techie Batman, all that stuff. And there might be tech in this too. I don't know, detective kind of tech. But I like that it is taking that approach of him being an investigative figure.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Something Z probably is interested in, 51st State Ultimate Edition coming to GameFound.
Yeah, this is collecting the core box, of course, the previous expansions that have been available. The core box already included New Era and already included Winter. And then as a standalone past that, there's been Allies, Scavengers, and Moloch. Those are 3 little packs. They're all in here, and a brand new one called No Man's Land, which apparently will include some sort of area control via the cards included in that deck. You also get upgraded bids and stuff, you know, with a nice sort of screen printing and carving and whatever. Like, the bits are very nice. This is neat. I like the top half of this cover and don't really like the bottom half of the cover. I think that whole Ultimate Edition and the metal plating there, I don't know, it looks a little tacky to me. But yeah, this is definitely exciting. This is I adore this game, and more content is always good. Thankfully, for those of us like me who do like this stuff, this expansion, No Man's Land, will be available on its own in a little pack, just like the other ones. So.
Oh, okay, good.
I have never played 51st State, and I feel terrible to say that, but it's interesting to see how much you love it. So I would love to play it with you at some point. That would be great.
I'd be happy to play with you, Stephen. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
All right. So Yellow, we talked about Yellow was a month or so ago. They announced that they were no longer using Yellow USA to distribute their products, an odd statement and such. But they now said they're going to be using Flat River Group for exclusive U.S. distribution. For more on that, let's go to our correspondent, Stephen Buonocore.
Business news with Stephen Buonocore. This actually, after I looked a little bit more closely at it, is not a surprise that they moved their sales and the ability to get into the other channels like Target and Amazon and Walmart and all of those. They had already been using. I saw the release. They had already been using Flat River to get into those big retailers. So this is an extension of their relationship that they already had with Flat River. Just hobby distribution going through the subsidiary of Flat River, Impressions, which is a sales agent group, just like PSI is. PSI and Impressions were competitors, and Impressions was bought by Flat River about 3 years ago or so. So this makes 100% sense. Still an odd thing that occurred with Yellow USA, but that's like water under the bridge at this point. That they're gone. So now they're going to this distribution model.
Group, Mr. Buonocore, Flat River Group, they sell games to Alliance, or are they a competitor with Alliance?
A little bit of both, but mostly they sell into distribution. They do distribute themselves as well, but they sell to distributors. They sell to Target and Walmart and Barnes & Noble. They're a way to get into those big retailers as well, just like PSI is.
But as a consumer, doesn't this increase the cost of a game? If the publisher sells it to Flat River sells it to Alliance then sells it to a store sells it to me. It sounds like it's adding another price level in there.
No, smaller companies use this model. They're exactly the same as PSI. And you know that there are dozens of hobby publishers that use PSI as their sales agent. So all those publishers that use PSI or Flat River take a smaller margin. They take about 15% less money on every sale because that's the cut of the sales agent of either Flat River or PSI. So
Okay,
no,
so
it
they're
does not.
taking the cost, not the consumer.
Yes, essentially. Of course, you can finagle the MSRP to do, to take some of that back. But the answer is yes. Because it's just like sort of like if any one of these companies had a marketing staff, a sales staff, right, that were selling, you got to pay them or pay somebody to do the work to sell all of your games. So now you're paying a very large third party. PSI gives publishers worldwide access to distribution. I am unsure that if Flat River has the same, but they probably do. They sell across the world. PSI has got extensive contacts to distributors in Asia, Europe, Africa, everywhere.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. The first major awards of each year are usually from France. The Asdor, is that how you pronounce it? Asdor?
Asdor.
It's a little Asdor.
Asdor. Okay. This is held in Cannes at the end of February. That's when they do the award ceremony, but they've announced the nominees for the best games. I guess this is of 2021. It has an 8-member jury, and this year they added a new category. They've always had kids, family games, advanced games. Now they added in a new category. Technically, it's called Initiated, but basically it's in between family and strategy. So the kids' games are Bubble Stories, My First Castle Panic, and Pinbon. The only one of these I played is My First Castle Panic, but I want to play the other two. They look fun.
Yeah.
Bubble Stories seems odd that I've missed that one because that's Matthew Dunstan in Blue Orange. Maybe it's come through here and we haven't seen it, but it feels like one I would play with my son.
You would have grabbed this. Yeah. We haven't.
I think I would have
come through yet. Yeah.
For the family games, we have Seven Wonders Architects, Cartaventura, Laza, and Happy City. So the two I played here, Architects and Happy City, very clearly fitness category. The third one, I don't think it's come to America yet.
Right.
I love that cover.
It is a cool cover.
Cosmos
this
does.
Is going to be I believe, going to be another one of those little series of adventures. Where I believe I already saw announced when this was announced, 2 side by side. This one and something else with a different cover, but that same logo, a different adventure. So this is another of those, Exit. And I don't know what kind of game it is. I'm just saying, Cosmos. They like their series.
They're really.
So they've done Exit, they've done that Adventure Island one, Volcano one, whatever that's called, that line. This is another line. I believe this looked, and I'm pulling from memory here, but I believe this looked a little bit like a miniature Seventh Continent with some little card, like, building.
Right. I do remember seeing the announcement about this now. Yeah. I believe there's probably a lot of translation, which is why it's not come as quickly.
Oh, this sounds exciting if that's the case, Zee. That's a cool comparison if that's true.
If you thought those were too light,
for that.
Here's their new category, this Initiate category. We have Living Forest, Nouvelles Countries, and Ultre. I played none of these. Zee has played Ultre.
I've played Ultre, yeah. Big co-op game, gorgeous game. These guys, that the awards are French when every cover is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, this is not the German awards for sure.
Beautiful boxes. So I've only played the one, but that Ludonat Living Forest, that certainly looks neat. I'd love to play that.
It does.
And then that Nouvelle Contrée or whatever that is. I want to check that out too. Yeah, cool. Very, very, and none of these I think are going to be too heavy or too difficult to get into. Even this category they've created here is not really that advanced, I guess I would say.
All right, then the expert category has Dune Imperium, Lost Ruins of Arnak, and Iki.
You played all
Dune and
three of
Pyramid,
these, Tom.
yes, Dune and Pyramid, Arnak are pretty obvious choices. They've been nominated. Those two have been nominated for tons of awards. Iki's more of a surprise. It's a reprint of a 5-year-old game that I think was very small print run when it first came out. I couldn't even guess which one of these will win, but they're all very solid games.
Yeah. Some people were confused that Iki was nominated, but just like the awards in Germany for the Spiel, this is the first time it's available in French in France. So it's then able to be nominated and win. It simply hadn't been available before.
So they have the same rules, air quote, that they have to have a French edition, probably a French publisher, which ergo you would make it a French language edition. Got it.
Yep. Yeah. First time in French, so it qualifies.
Well, we'll announce the winners when they're announced at this convention. All righty. And that is the news.